can I start?
I did already.
Okay. Um, let's call this meeting to order at 40. Hey, let's call this meeting to order at. Hi, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order at 4:02. It's Wednesday, March 4th. We have everyone here, right? Are we missing anyone? This is amazing. Thank you, everyone. Fun times. We'll start off with visitor communication. I have one person here, and now I have two. So you have 3 minutes to communicate with us. I think we need a microphone. So.
Yeah, we need you. We need you on the microphone for recording.
Right, we record these sessions, so when you step up to present or speak, just state your name and your address. Thank you.
Have a seat right here. I already won.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you today. My name is Robin Schinberg. I live at 1103 North Lavender Lane, and I'm here today to talk about the Sisters Community Garden. You probably all have heard that we lost our location at the airport. They gave us notice a couple years ago, and we searched and searched and searched for a spot. And we asked the city to help us find a spot, and what it came down to was a little temporary spot over by Core on Trinity Way, half the size of our other garden, no fence, nothing, and we're trying to build it so we'll have something. But my purpose here today is to ask the city again to consider us. I understand that a survey was done at one time, and a community garden was one of 8 listed features that the citizens wanted to see, especially in a new facility. And we've got this wonderful park that you're working on in the northwest part of town, I think. And I noticed there wasn't a city garden included in that. So I guess my point is it would be really wonderful if you could consider the garden, and if not there, maybe over where the elementary school was. There's a lot of open grass. I know they want to keep it as a sports facility area, but you wouldn't have that right up next to the building. There is some space there that maybe we could put in a garden. And probably my 3 minutes are up by now. So I just want you to, don't forget us. We're still looking for a permanent location. It's a wonderful thing to have for the city.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Robin, thanks for coming. How much space do you need at minimum, and how much space do you need ideally?
Oh, gosh. I couldn't give you a number. We had 50 plots at our old one, and we're down to 25 at our new one there at Core.
Okay.
And no greenhouse. I mean, we had a greenhouse. It was just lovely. We had, brought the community together. I think people grew food for the food bank. Had a plot for kids to learn how to grow their own food.
I'm not great with knowing space sizes, but like an acreage?
It was only like an acre.
An acre, okay. The 50
Right.
plots fit into an acre.
Yeah.
And are you a nonprofit, or are you just is there a formal?
It's a nonprofit.
I think it's a nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not very informed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Laura.
You're still on.
My name is.
Okay, thank you. Ella? Ellen.
Hi,
Sorry.
everyone. I'm Ellen. and Bernard Smallin, and I live at 16899 Canyon Crest Drive in Sisters. And I'm speaking here today in support of the Sisters Community Garden. I've been a member for 3 years, and we moved here about 3 years ago, an avid gardener. And so I actually have just become more aware of the plan that you're looking at for a park, the Northwest Park anyway. And as Robin was saying, we have been really searching for a space, a permanent space, and I know that we've spoken with the city that requesting a more permanent area, tried different locations and have a temporary spot at Core, which is lovely, but I feel that what the community could really use is more space for a garden, an additional space for a garden. The Core is temporary, but to have a permanent one. Does everybody understand why we feel that a community garden would be exceptionally wonderful for Sisters? Yeah.
As a gardener myself,
Yes.
I would love to see something more permanent that you could have all sorts of outreach, all kinds of places for people who don't have the room.
Right. And exactly. There are a lot of folks in Sisters that don't always have the right area. They may have a shaded area or the space. And Sisters, as we all know, will continue to grow. I happen to have an opportunity, and I'm sure that you all have maybe had the same opportunity to go to Bend, and I was at Miller's Landing, and does everybody know that's in the old Mill District? And it's a park. It's right along the Deschutes River, and because I'm new to the area, I happened to see this gated garden, and I went over to it and I took some pictures and I shared it with other gardeners, and basically it is just one of Bend's community gardens. They have a simple fence. They have simple garden beds there, and I can't even tell you the number. That's not the most important thing as I share this. It was like, wow, this can be done. And I know it will cost money, but I feel that the benefits that a community garden can do for a community and the individuals and families is just amazing. And so I would love for you to consider the Sisters Community Garden as you move forward and look at plans for Northwest Park or other parks in our future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions to follow up, or we can move along? Okay. Let's approval of minutes. Did anyone see any issues with the minutes? And can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
I second that motion. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's launch into our presentation of Northwest Park Master Plan.
Thank
Sir.
you, Chair. For the record, Scott Woodford, Community Development Director for the City of Sisters. This is a project you guys have seen and discussed several times, 3 times I think already. It's gone to the council 3 or 4 times, as well as had opportunities for the public to weigh in community forums, stakeholder meetings. So this is a well-discussed project, and it's nearing towards the end of the process, and I thought it was appropriate to circle back with the Parks Board and kind of let you all know kind of where it is currently and where the council has kind of landed in its most recent discussions, and just kind of remind everybody why, what the purpose of the project was in the first place. And it stemmed from council goals starting back in 2024-25. First one was to finalize project concepts and conduct public outreach for a multi-purpose recreational facility that supports residents and visitors at the future Northwest Park adjacent to the Sisters Woodland Development Area. And then in 25-26, another council goal was to adopt the Northwest Park Master Plan and develop a funding and phasing plan to construct the improvements. It's long been kind of characterized as let's look at the feasibility of a multi-use facility on this site. It was never known for sure whether it would actually fit on the site, and whether the community would accept it, and how much would it cost, and how would we pay for it. And so this process was really aimed towards answering all those questions. And then if a multi-use facility, ice rink facility wasn't feasible, what would be feasible on the site? And so, as I mentioned, there've been starting back probably maybe a year, getting close to a year from now, a long process that we've gone through. The latest meeting was with council on February 11th, where they provided some feedback on the plan based on direction or some direction that they received from the Parks Board prior to that. But it was really to kind of also review final construction numbers and possible funding mechanisms. There's a variety of different funding possibilities for projects like this. One is our system development charges that we collect on all building projects to help pay for future park improvements. It was noted that the amount that we have in that fund isn't currently enough, wouldn't have been currently enough to build the full pavilion facility, because that was around a $10 million project, and we finally got down to it. I think it was noted that we have SDC reserves right now where we could do a more limited park project on the site now. But we also looked at other possibilities such as grants that you can get through the Oregon Parks Recreation District that would help, and also some different bonding options to the community to help pay for those. Where council finally came down on this was that they were more in favor of phase one, the phase one approach. If you remember, there was, phase one would be kind of what you see on the screen. Phase 1A would have been the addition of in the summer some court facilities, and in the winter some type of ice facility / pavilion. And so after lots of discussion, I think it was determined for a variety of reasons that this was not the appropriate site for the ice rink and pavilion. For site characteristics, where it's located, access, not to mention the cost to construct, as well as the cost to operate, and not knowing how that would work out at this time, and the feeling that since we are looking at an urban growth boundary expansion that incorporates 19 to 25 acres of new park area, that it would be better to plan something in advance that would take an ice rink into account, do it properly with the proper parking and access. In addition to the costs are certainly a big consideration in this project for not going forward. So the idea now with the master plan is scaling back the parking lot, which was a suggestion that the Parks Board made at the last meeting, is if we were going with a smaller park footprint, did we really need the full parking allotment? And that was a great suggestion, and something that the council took into consideration. Also, the idea of a permanent, more of a kind of a permanent restroom facility versus a temporary porta potty kind of situation was another suggestion that was passed on to council that was well received. And so what's still left in the plan is the what they're calling the Naturescape Playground with the lookout tower and the play structures, which is in that area of the letter B on the map. Then letter C is the Three Sisters Bouldering Zone, which was something that was pretty consistently recommended and scored pretty highly in our community outreach as a facility and amenity that is popular with a lot of folks in the area that now have to go all the way to Bend to find similar amenities. And so that's still in the plan. The paths, you can see the perimeter paths that are still in the plan were something that were still popular. And one potential add-on that the council was willing to keep on the table was the potential for a basketball court just to the north of where letter D is on the map. As knowing that there are not a lot of opportunities to play basketball outside of this community. The community center has a nice facility that they replaced, which more or less replaced the one that was at the tennis courts. And then I'm not sure how many there are beyond that, but there are not a lot of those. And thinking of those amenities that are popular with a lot of broad cross section of our community, but maybe more of our teenagers and young adults that we've kind of found that we don't maybe serve as well as we should or could. And then also the recommendation for some potential berming along the kind of the northwest edge of the site with some to function as some maybe sound breaks from the road, and also serve as a nice little not a huge but a little sled hill in the winter when we get snow again as an amenity. I've heard. So one other suggestion was if we don't do if we're not doing the ice rink, and maybe if we don't do the court facility, perhaps that's an opportunity to rethink the location of the restroom. And there were some suggestions for more picnic opportunities, picnic shelters, and perhaps there's an opportunity to co-locate the restroom with the picnic facility, kind of like how you've done over at the community park. So there may be an opportunity for that. Councilor Ross, you were there. Would you like to add anything to that?
I think that's really pretty accurate. One of the things that, luckily, we've seen how well it goes that over at the community center is that sort of a restroom / covered picnic area combo, and that's something I think we really want them to look at. The berm was kind of talked about in terms of not just sound, but also for Little Sledding Hill. And those of us who live by the campground know that anytime there's even a slight amount of slush on the ground, we have young people over there trying to slide down that little itty bitty hill, and they're having a great time. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're not trying to replicate Sandy Ann Pass or anything like that. So that's really where things are at. There may be also some opportunities. I think we asked them to look at, does the playground look differently if there's more space allocated to the footprint? But I think the thing that really came pretty clear to us was that we didn't think we could put a temporary ice rink in there without a cover over it, A, because of the sun, B, because of the pine needles. And so it might be far more appropriate for us to look to spend those dollars in the new UGB growth area where we can find a space that's appropriate and have adequate parking and have a full-size ice sheet for some of us who like to curl and like to skate. I knew you were. I was waiting until the end. I thought you might bust a gut before I got there. But I mean, those are things that we're looking at it. And I will say that I don't believe that. I'm not going to be careful. I'm speaking as one counselor. I'm I'm going to speak right now, since you're here. I don't see the community garden in this location for a variety of reasons, mainly just because of the limited amount of space and the number of trees we would have to take down in order to create. And one of the goals of this group and also of the council has been to keep as many trees, and the neighbors, keep as many trees as possible. There's a lot of old and mature trees in there. So, but I do know we've had a lot of discussion about the urban growth boundary area and the park facilities and the need for basically not very far from where it used to be in the urban growth boundary area. There's some very appropriate land in there, I think, to look at that might not be as, I don't want to use appropriate, but it's desirable for housing, but might be very good for gardening because of the sun and access to the road and everything else. So we've not forgotten you, but I can't promise you it's going to be something fixed tomorrow. So I don't want to mislead you. And any discussions related to the community center are not a part of this board's, because community center is Parks and Recreation District, and you have to, I'm not putting you on the hot seat here, but we're not making any commitments that affect what they can and can't do. And one last thing is that in my discussions with Director Holland, it was very clear that staffing of an ice rink at this point in time would stretch them a long way. And the city doesn't, at this time, have staff to staff a recreational facility. We build them and then we turn over to someone else. And, you know, and that's a progress that works well for us. So that was the other piece of the puzzle, too, was just the cost of operation. I think there was some concern, although not a lot of it from folks in that development, that the larger parking lot and the fact that we could pull a lot of people in might stress their street parking, of which there is minimally none, to be polite. I mean, when you get the way the streets are laid out, there's not a lot. So yeah, I think that if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Good.
I bet you could get a dental group to sponsor the ice rink.
Can I ask a clarifying question about the plan? So I see the note at the bottom says consultants preparing a final draft for city council for a week from now. So did you say that like a basketball court is maybe off the table for the initial construction and we're leaving space for that for later, or are they going to present council with like an option without basketball, or kind of what's the status there?
Go ahead.
I believe we expect to see a drawing with some sort of an outdoor court on it. It not as large as the footprint of the half-sheet facility, but in that same general area. I think when we talk a court, we have the ability to kind of work it in around the trees better and the other recreational opportunities. So I think they're going to play with that. And the numbers to do it were reasonable. There was some confusion because initially there was numbers about building something that we could then convert. So there was extra utilities and extra all this stuff which added to the cost. Once you pull all those out, it's well within the budgetary areas. And one more thing to keep in mind is when we expand the UGB and we start the construction process out there will be park SDCs flowing in from all the work that's going on out there, which will help to support something happening in that area.
Perfect. Scott, do you have any more to add on this presentation?
I think it'll go back as a draft report next week, and then final report, I think, in April. Yeah, it's just a report. It's not necessary that, I don't think, I'm going to speak wrong here, let me know, but not necessarily to go ahead with this park. I think it's like, here's a master plan that we can consider for the future, near future potentially, or future. But my understanding is it's not necessarily a decision to actually go forward with the park at this time.
I don't know. I'm not sure that was clear. I think that if we like what we see, and we think that we can do it within the scope of what we have to look at how much staff time there is with the other projects that are on the sheet right now, capital projects. But I'd like to see something sooner than later. I think all of us would. And so I don't know. I don't have an answer. My position would be if we can afford to do it, we can move forward with this, that would be a good thing to do. So, and I would recommend, although the council will see it before this group meets again, but at least send the draft drawings out to this group for comment. You can submit them to Scott and he can get them to us. That would probably be the best thing to do. There'll be another opportunity, I think. This is sort of a, yeah, let's take this and flesh it out now. Because so far we're at we're still at the 30,000 foot elevation view.
Is your feeling is city council is all on board to move forward with this?
I think that I didn't hear opposition to doing something with it. I think it was still some sense that what we had was what we wanted and did with it. It's like we're trying to make too many things.
Yeah, so I think in terms,
I have a quick question because I drive by there sometimes and I notice that a lot of trees are marked with a blue band. And I don't know what that means because there's still a lot of trees that aren't marked, but is that in preparation for this work?
so are you talking about the trees that are kind of
They have blue
up
ribbon
in
on
this
them.
area where the cursor, see where my cursor is? 'Cause there's-
No.
Where the trees marked here on the site?
Closer to the roundabout,
Oh,
up in that corner.
yeah, I mean, there's no trees that are approved to be cut down.
So the marking is just
I-
kind
I-
of
The
decoration.
marking went up prior to any construction going on within that development. They went in and cruised through and marked trees, and I'm not sure which color means death and which color means life, because they had different colors. But it was mainly to tell the folks that were in there doing the early prep work what they could or couldn't touch. The fact that they're still there makes me believe that maybe
Can we
blue is good.
Require like tree fencing, permanent fencing for trees that we could say.
Yeah.
So, so that those are more specifically noted not to be touched. There are just, I'm not exactly sure what that means on this site, but I'll tell you that there's no trees approved to be cut on there right now.
Thanks.
But you will likely see some trees up in this area be cut down for the new eating and drinking establishment that was approved up there.
Oh.
They haven't got a permit yet for building permit, but they do have planning approval.
Yeah, and that's outside of the park footprint.
Right.
But I think that the goal of the council is to keep that as treed as possible.
Perfect.
And we heard the community say the same thing, and I think in many of the surveys, it was keep as many trees as you can. And certainly the facility, had we put it in there, would have taken a number of trees out.
Thank you.
Any last questions?
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but just not to be glib, but this is I don't know how many iterations I've seen with the interpretive trail marked on here. I've walked through there. I'm not really sure there's a heck of a lot to interpret, and I know it seems like that was a response from the designers to the survey responses about we want nature trails in general, we want interpretive trails in general, but also when another city employee was in my classroom, we were looking at this map and both of us remarked how none of that is actually green. There's not really anything to see. You just hear traffic noise. If we're talking about like ways to save some expense on an amenity that is probably not in the spirit of the feedback and also not going to get a heck of a lot of use, that's probably one of them. Like, it's all scrub and dirt. It's just going to be kind of a mud pit in the shoulder season in the winter. I'm not sure it'll even look like a trail much after one season of use. If people are going to walk through, I think it's easy enough to do undeveloped. So anyway, just kind of my
I
2
believe
cents
it's paved, but. But I will tell you that I've worked on a number of park master plans other than here in my previous life, as somebody else at this table. And there's something about park designers, planners who do this work love interpretive trails. And I've had the same question. I mean, we might look for some kind of a walking path around the perimeter that is all multi-season, all use because people like to walk, which means it probably will be a dog walk. But anyway, you're going to have a hard. This counselor is going to be very hard to sell on interpretive signing unless it has some kind of significance to the site or to the city. But you walk it once, you've read it, and then after that, it becomes a maintenance issue.
May I respond to that briefly? Interpretive trail could be educational about fire-wise plantings, water-wise plantings, and we could have, you know, a park-like trail with those things maybe identified, maybe not, but just sort of part of our growing need for safety.
Again, just speaking as myself, I see, you know, if you're going to do it, I see little placards of trees. This is a ponderosa pine, this is this scrub, this is that. I mean, different sorts of, you see nature trails where they identify the trees you're going to see and those kinds of things, like you meant, fire-wise type stuff. But they show little signposts all the way around it if you kind of look on the drawing up close. And those are the things that concern me because the sun here destroys them. They don't age well at all.
All right, thank you. If it's okay, we can move on to staff updates.
Dog park. Well, we're talked to Public Works, and they are making some progress on the dog park. They have got a couple bids from contractors, fencing contractors, out in the area, and have decided on one. Just as a reminder, you know, of the location at the Sisters Gateway Park, the old mobility center. For that Sisters Gateway Park hasn't sunk in yet for some. That's what we're talking about. And this, even though this map is not, it's kind of focused on really closely just from one perspective. This is obviously Hood. Down here, down below would be 242, and on the right, more or less, would be Highway 20. You can faintly see the labyrinth right there, just for some context. This is more or less the outline that the Parks Board recommended for the dog park, and Public Works, as I said, got a Sisters Fence Company was the winning bidder, and there are I think it's going to take 4 to 5 weeks to get the material for the fencing, and as soon as they get that, they're going to go forward with it. Let me give you a little bit more background from Jackson here on it. It's going to be powder coated in black and heavy duty frame material for longevity and minimal maintenance. Perimeter has already been cleared of debris, vegetation, and tree limbs, and the corners have been staked and flagged. You might have seen it out there. I've noticed it. So they're also planning to provide some tables near the entry, and conduit is being brought into the site for future drinking fountains. And picnic tables are actually being built in-house. So long story short, that project's going forward, and they didn't say exactly when we would open it up to the public, but I would imagine sometime this summer would be a target. So that's exciting. Our first dog park. Yay. Bark and bark.
Oh, boy.
Any questions on that? No? You all excited? Yes, I think that was part of the discussion, because that was a concern. That was a concern from the labyrinth. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can you all let me know, what was the budget for that? For the dog park piece?
I don't know.
Okay. Other question is there a concern for a place for dogs to get drinking water, or, you know, the obvious debris pickup and stuff like that?
Yeah, on the map there, it showed there's a doggy drinking fountain set up as well as two, I think, two bag locations and all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And-
all.
They're putting in, like Scott mentioned, conduit that they're putting in will be for water service.
Oh, cool.
It'll come from down in the area of
The
don't
restrooms?
worry, the dump station, that's what water is.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't have a pet right now, but I watch people and their dogs, and in a dog park, there's a water trough where, okay, that's the drinking water, but all the dogs are walking in it, and who's cleaning it, and how often is it being cleaned, and how do you keep disease from going back and forth between dogs? I don't know if that's part of the concern. I know, overthinking.
I'm personally, I agree with you. We have dog parks, we pay more close attention. Some of these designs, when you go into talking about has a basin at the bottom, they can push the button and fill the water, the dog can drink the rest of it. I'm not sure about this. I have a personal opinion on dog parks. Myself.
Great. Any other concerns about the dog park? What's the finish date? Do we have a finish date? You said 45 days to get to material.
4 to 5 weeks.
Weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, so a while. Okay.
I'd imagine sometime this summer. That's all I can, that's as detailed as I can get you right now.
Working, they're working it into their schedule. That's the material has to be ordered in the stuff.
I think the intent is to move as quickly as they can to get it going.
Great. Thank you. Jen, would you like to give us?
I got a,
Oh, go ahead.
Jen.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jen.
Thought you were done.
Got a couple, I got at least one other update, and that is the Arbor Day coming up. Arbor Day celebration, which is something we do every year, and I think we've been at Tree City USA for, like, I don't know, you know how long, Carol? How long have we been at Tree City? 20 years? Yeah. Something like that. And part of being a Tree City USA is that you do some events. We also, in addition to that, we have a tree ordinance and we have an urban forestry board. So we have a lot of the elements of what's required to maintain your Tree City USA status. But for at least the last 5 years that I've been here, we've been doing some kind of event to celebrate Arbor Day. And Arbor Day is April 24th. And we often celebrate it by planting trees. And we often celebrate it by getting our youth involved in the tree planting process. This year, we have been working with Sisters Park and Recreation District and Jennifer to identify some locations on their park site to plant trees. You can see the area on the map that has been designated just inside the fence line along the highway there. Will be the planting of 12 new ponderosa pine seedlings. So you're welcome to come out and help out with that or spread the word. And we're always looking for volunteers, so if you want to come out or volunteer, let us know, or just show up. And Lisa, you've been involved with it in the past.
My kids
Did you bring your
love it.
kids one year?
They're not on that picture. I was looking for them. Oh, well, maybe.
Sarah Val.
Actually, maybe that is my kid. Well, it'd be the back of his head, you know. It is very cool. We need a new aerial photo because this is not as cool as what it looks like now.
Oh, after the park?
Well, now that it's developed, it looks awesome, not like
They have
a
an
bunch
awesome,
of lumpy
they have an awesome
lumps.
photo that somebody took from the roof of the elementary. It was beautiful, like a sunrise kind of thing. It's a Chamber of Commerce shot.
Somebody has a drone. Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah, just shoot it down and borrow it. Sorry, bad idea.
Past projects.
Oh. Strange.
Some past projects of planting, we did planting between City Hall and the library, was one year. And then last year we did them along the path and the roundabout. They look good. They're all still there.
Planted 1 year over Creekside Park along the Marion area, and several of those are getting to be some pretty good height. We also planted a number of willows and things like that.
And Cliff Clemens we did.
And in front of Spur, at the community center. Right in front of the office space. 3 or 5 of them died 12, 14 years ago.
Thank you. Any other updates before I rudely interrupt you?
No more surprises.
Thank you for mentioning that. We're very excited to be the host site for that, so thank you for considering us. I think it'll be nice to put some more trees along that fence line. Things are going good over SPRD. We're trying to do some new community Facebook engagement where we're not just saying register, register. So we were kind of laughing today because we posted something this week about, did you know that the park is open? And apparently a lot of people didn't. And so they're like, what park are you talking about? And so it's pretty interesting. So it's always good not to take for granted the fact that you are very visible. And there is been marketing out there, but it's always a good reminder that, multiple medias are good to connect with folks. So we are, as you guys know, the park is open. The bathrooms are functional. Yay. We finally have benches and everything is pretty much good to go, minus the grass is still under lock and key, although the deer don't seem to care, because we are just wanting to give that grass the best chance possible to take seed before everybody's little feet gets on there. And so we already know that we're going to have some reseeding before as soon as the sun actually comes out and stays. So we'll have some more information on that, but once we have our signage and everything, we'll schedule a ribbon cutting, and we would love to have the Parks Advisory Board there, and City Council and the school district and all of our partners that have helped make this possible. So that's very exciting. And one of the things that I just wanted to share, and this might be helpful too for our friends with the community garden, is that towards the end of 2026, we're really going to focus on some community outreach. We did a lot of community outreach before we moved to that site, including what people wanted to see from SPRD in regards to programming, in regards to development of that park. And now that we're there and we've actually been in the site, we want to spend a little bit more time being like, okay, now we're here, let's circle back. What else do you guys want to see here? What can we do within the confines of our budget, of our limitations? But also, think big. If we, what grand scheme, what would people like to see that site to be? Because ultimately, one of the things that Kurt and I have been talking about is that, we have this site and they are renting the Coalfield Center from us, but at some point, what's that investment cap that we're willing to make on property that we don't own? And he has the same thoughts with the Coalfield Center. And so long term, is that going to be something that we work with the school district to acquire and they acquire from us? All these things that need to be determined, because I'll tell you, everybody has some really great ideas for that facility, but it is really, there becomes a point to where it doesn't make sense for us to invest multiple millions of dollars in a facility that we're leasing. So as soon as that stuff starts being promoted, we want you to come, we want your opinions, we want your feedback, and because we want to make sure that we are being good stewards of this community asset. It's a fabulous thing. It was one of the first things that a community member said to me when I started here 6.5 years ago. You need to turn that into a community center, and it was still it's still a school. And so we're there, and so now we don't want to. We want to make sure that it's just the maximized uses there. Other than that, things are trucking along. Summer registration is going to happen here soon, believe it or not, and I think that's about it from us. Any questions?
You just might note for the good of the order that you guys don't lease the whole site, right? There's a portion that the school district has.
Yeah, so the school district maintains part of it. So it's kind of it's a little funky because the whole site is considered a community center, and then we maintain a sublease with Treehouse Therapies. The school district is still in 2 classrooms, and by that I mean their stuff is in 2 classrooms. Then the old library is a Promise Preschool, which is a school district property, school district program. And then in the early childhood wing, which is where our preschool is, there is another lease that is currently managed by the school district that's supposed to be coming to us here soon, that is a private child care. And so it's a little clunky as when we first moved, as with all things, the plans evolve, and so we're trying to firm up all those things, but the school district still has some stuff in there, and honestly, probably until they figure out what they're going to do with Coalfield Center in regards to also remodeling it to make it work for their office space, that I don't really see the Promise Preschool moving until, but they have talked about there could be a potential for that school to move, the Promise Preschool to move over to the Coalfield Center location, with the thoughts of doing some intentional also programming for high schoolers that could do some embedded work in there. But, all ideas, lots of things would have to happen before then. But yeah, it's a little, we have some shared stuff going on. And that outside property, there is like this really weird location that we don't own. So if you walk the park and you're like, was that what you were talking about?
That's what I was kind of more noting, is this
Yeah,
more
that
of this triangle of
when people are like,
property that the school district.
ask us what we're going to do with that, we say, we don't know what the school's going to do with it. They're actually working to, well, you know what they're doing.
Yeah, the school has actually submitted an application to this is all one big property here. The school's actually submitted an application to partition the property, and they would carve off this piece right here. We call it kind of the triangle piece. I don't know what the latest thinking is. Ace, you might be able to help out, but it's still potential housing.
Yeah, potentially employee housing or something along those lines, or sell it so we can remodel the Coalfield Center and then start that domino effect of moving property. And same with the district office. We're breaking that in half too, into 2 lots as well. No, to the left, yes, to the left of the building is actually a different lot, and then that property is what's really weird is that property is parceled into lots already, even though there's one building on it, and the easement of the parking lot is actually city parking, so it's not even part of that lot. So it's a weird piece of property. And yeah, so currently,
between the current building and Tyler.
right, exactly. So we'll probably sell that separately, is what we're thinking. We're trying to save the integrity of that building because it's beautiful and has so much history. So we're hoping the city will discuss that, and they have discussed it, but we're a long ways apart at this point, I think. So lots of things happening.
Thank you. You got a little bit more information. Maybe bargained for today.
Sorry, couldn't help it. I might know a few things about what's going on.
Stop going to all the meetings.
Little bonus. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jennifer.
Oh, that's okay. Was there?
I just didn't know if people knew that you guys didn't lease the whole site out.
No, I think it's always a good reminder because, like I said, even though people drive by the park all the time, they may not all realize it's open, and so no. So yeah, all good things.
Any questions for Jen?
You've already had 9 reports.
Okay, we don't need to ask you again. Any other business, open discussion, anything anyone would like to talk about other than ice rinks, let me know.
And any ideas for future agenda items, if there's topics that you guys want to know more about or discuss, sometimes we went to an every other month meeting format because we didn't always have enough topics. But we can always invent some topics just to keep us going, and, you know, if there's not specific ones. That's what we're doing with the Planning Commission right now. It's kind of a little slow, and we've done a lot of education with them. So I want to give that opportunity to you guys to come up with some ideas if you want to learn more about the Parks Master Plan, or what we might refresh ourselves on what's in that plan.
Maybe a refresh on the trails, multi-use paths throughout town, especially with what's coming online, might not be a bad
Okay. Yeah.
topic.
And some wayfinding maybe.
I'm not sure, maybe you all do know exactly how we interact with SBRD and all the things that they're doing that are parks related. So would it be beneficial to have her take 15 minutes on an agenda or some 20 minutes to talk about how they're organized, what they're doing, how they're funded, why they're funded the way that they are. Because you don't understand how special this is, what's going on with it, makes no sense. And so, and why they're in the predicament that they're in. So, well, I mean, it's fine.
Predicament.
Bad decision making 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. So I just, would that be beneficial though to this group to have her spend some time on an agenda to kind of go over how we interrelate, what they do for us, what we do for them, so you have a sense when we talk parks, what their role is.
Sure. At least a 2-hour presentation,
With full PowerPoint, yeah. With
please.
PowerPoint and questions.
No. Of course, that was a joke. Just to clarify. I couldn't tell if you were excited or scared.
So trails and SBRD kind of overview.
Maybe just a short one on the campground, how the city got that project and the revenue it generates and where the revenue goes.
And I don't know if this is opening a can of worms, but I know we briefly talked with Gary about the logistics of what it would take to eventually have an aquatic center. And I know you have a lot of background knowledge on that, and I think that could be hard.
That is a can of worms.
And the reason I think it would be helpful is, as a city parks board advisor, I get that question a lot, and I think it would be nice to have some fact-based answers to it.
Oh, fair.
Not to mention, I just really care about it, but I think that could be helpful so we're all informed. We think we can add that.
That's what I was thinking, because I think it's in many cities, the park district does parks and recreation. Here we do the parks, they do the recreation, and so facilities kind of get intermixed. And so I think that would be a very beneficial discussion to have. We both have experience in what it costs for our pools, what the issues are, and also what the benefits are. So, because not everything is an issue, it's just really a matter of frankly of dollars.
I had a really good conversation with 2 high schoolers about it, so that's kind of important.
My understanding is an ice rink's actually cheaper to run than a pool. Just throwing it out there. Any,
Oh, just might be still a long time coming, but as like UGB expansion approaches, I know earlier we mentioned like maybe this is actually 2 things to think about for when we go into expansion and planning, like green space, parks, et cetera there. So just getting some context before embarking on that, if the city does at least, to see what is our role in it, what kind of feedback can and should we give, that sort of thing.
Great. Anyone else before we adjourn this meeting? All right. Let's call this meeting adjourned at 5:55. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
2 minutes late, 5 minutes early.